I don't want to surround myself with negativity. It's always about positivity, always about thinking forward. Yes, we have issues. Yes, we fall down, but always think about the better outcome. Always see that, you know what, that was not a failure, that was a lesson.
Welcome to the Awaken the Awesome podcast with your host, Olivier D. This is Awaken the Awesome, a podcast where we acknowledge that we are all in this together. Through enlightening conversations and personal insights, we like to engage with individuals just like you, who show us how they are bringing a little bit of awesomeness along their individual journeys. Our hope is to inspire you to always keep pushing and to stay awesome along the way. Welcome back, Awesome Tribe. We've got an undeniable OG guest on the podcast this time around. I am pleased to roll out the virtual red carpet and set the stage for my good friend, Executive Chef Alain Lemaire. You always hold a special place in your heart for those individuals who, even with their incredibly busy schedules and not evolving in the same industry as yours, still found the time to show you support and believe in you and your crazy venture. So for Alain to always accept to come back and share his insights on the podcast is not only a treat for me, but also an honor. As accomplished as he is, you wonder how he does it all. Award-winning executive chef, entrepreneur, business owner, speaker, mentor, media personality, coach, and most recently featured as head chef on the premiere episode of the second season of Luda Can't Cook, starring Ludacris Bridges, now airing on Discovery+. One cannot withhold the incredible respect that is due to such a prime example of heart, dedication, and passion for excellence. Added to the fact that he never fails to praise and hold up his Haitian colors, mighty and proud, Alain is definitely one to take notes from. On this episode, we chop it up and discuss the importance of giving back, elevating your standards, defining your own lane, honoring your culture by staying authentic, and yes, being professional even when you're starstruck. Another exciting conversation, which I do hope you'll enjoy. So let's get into this. Awaken the Awesome, episode 170 with Chef Alain Lemaire. Here we go. Man, for the people who don't know, this is probably gonna be one of the most informal episodes in the Awaken the Awesome industry. I can't say that because everybody's is pretty used to the chillax, laid back attitude of this recording. But for me, it comes from a very sincere place because not only am I welcoming a friend, a brother, former classmate, a fellow warrior who were basically there are very few people I can genuinely say we are aligned on the same level of greatness and just, striving for excellence. But on a particular stance, for people who have heard me say that, this podcast is not the first podcast. There was an initial podcast before this, which was a photography podcast. And I just want to have more creative people on there. And Alain, my next guest, is basically one of the OG guests of this podcast. And I actually went back to the archives and actually checked, when was Alain on? Can you believe we were on in 2013?
2013
was the first, one of the first episodes. I'll send you the link. And I'm like, wow, time flies. Time flies. It was just me dabbling into still having the photography bug and connecting with creatives. And again, you start your podcast with friends, right? But I went back. I'm like, Alain's one of the OGs. But I'm like, wow, wait a second. And I tried to find the link and I'm like, 2013. I'm like, are you serious right now?
Yeah, that's a long time ago.
That's a long time ago. And it creates perspective. And that's basically what I want to celebrate, Alain. Because, even back then, because we were doing the recording really off the top. You were at a food festival in
I was in Haiti.
Yeah. Exactly. You were at the beach and handling just in the grind. You were sweating, you were in the kitchen, and you gave me 30 minutes of your time, and I'm still grateful for that because every time I invite you, you never back down. You always say yes. So I'm always grateful. But brother, I really want to celebrate you. I really do, because just that perspective, nearly 10 years later, and to see how you've elevated. You've had ups, you've had downs, you lost your father along the way. You have been so many adventures, ups, highs, and lows, but it's always, we keep going, we keep striving, we keep pushing forward, we keep inspiring people, we keep promoting the culture, we keep elevating our status, we keep making better connections, we keep, just nurturing our craft and feeding our passion. Alain, man, I'm just saying this as a fellow brother and as a friend. I care about you. I celebrate you. I really want to tell you, congratulations for everything, man. You've done amazing work. And trust me, I see you. And I want to congratulate you for that.
Thank you, bro. Thank you. I appreciate you, man. Appreciate the work you've been doing also. And it shows that persistence, consistency are the key factors to getting to where you want to be.
There's no way around it. There's no way around it because as much as people want to convince themselves of having like, okay, what's the cheat code? Okay, how I do this faster? Or, yeah, I know I'm supposed to put in the work, but no, yeah, but give me the secret. Give me the secret. How
Right.
do you laugh or do you just try to coach them? Because sometimes, I don't know about you, sometimes my tolerance level goes to zero and I just have no patience anymore. You need to understand that there is the grind. But from someone
Yes.
who's had the perspective and you've been to the grind and you've paid your dues, reach the levels you have now, how do we
Man,
educate people on that the persistence aspect of greatness?
this is the one thing that I always tell people who are trying to skip the stairs to go through the elevator, right? Um, you might see me now on TV, or you might know my name now, but that doesn't mean I just started now.
Okay.
I'm like, yes, I'm getting the noises. Yeah, there's some noise out there now. More people are talking about me. I'm on TV. I'm doing all that stuff, but the work did not start overnight. I've
No.
been putting work for years now, and I've been putting work without even knowing or even having the slight idea where I was going to be like today.
Mm-hmm.
Like if we spoke about me doing this when we were in school, I would tell you you're crazy.
Exactly.
Um, I can even say that if you told me that I would be here 10 years ago, I would say you were crazy,
Can you
right?
imagine?
So I started my career, like real career in food in 2004, 2003, 2004. And I did not really get what you call the big break until 2015,
There you go.
right? And that was just like going through like like they like to say in French, passer par la
Mm-hmm.
food, right?
Exactly.
So, but then that's what I always tell them. I'm like, just because you see me now on TV or you just find out about me now doesn't mean that I just started.
We put in the work. You have to put in the work. And you know what?
Exactly.
And you use the word, and I think Rick Ross always talks about that, don't waste my
Consistency,
time and put in the longevity. Longevity in
longevity.
the long run is what
Yes,
pays off. Is what
exactly.
pays off. And
Yeah.
I think that you can speak to that because you've been around the block and you've seen chefs come and go. And some
Yes.
people, just from your perspective, you realize that I don't know, I'm not sure if and again, I turned 40. Okay, we're at that age where we're just
Yeah.
comparing ourselves constantly. I'm like, okay, I realize I still feel like a kid, but also I can't play basketball the same way I used to. So, so, so in a lot of ways, I always like to keep perspective is everything, right? And you know
Yes.
this when you see young chefs coming up. And are you in a position right now to mentor them, into the best practices and like not lose their way or like, have the patience, make your own niche, learn the basics, honor the good habits, or like do you find that there's that hunger? Do you see that hunger in them, or are they just wanting to start them in your
Okay.
experience?
So, um, I, for some reason or another, a lot of chefs have found, I don't want to say solace, but kind of like a mentor in me
Mm-hmm.
from a few years back, right? I would say that I not even like at this stage of my career, right? But before, like they was always reaching out to me, asking me questions, and I'm always that person that believes in sharing knowledge
Mm-hmm.
because once I die, it dies with me,
There you go.
right? I want to leave a legacy behind, and I want to use that example from Karate Kid, right? Cobra Kai.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Mr. Miyagi died, but that legacy got carried on with Danielson, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is how I believe it. Things should be passing it on and generation to generation. and your name, your legacy carries on. I've always mentored chefs, young chefs, especially those who show that they are willing to learn, willing to grow and do the work, right? It, if you come at me and you're trying to find a cheat code, I'm sorry, I don't have a cheat code, because even still now, uh, 17 years into the business, I still do the grind and the lead work that needs to be done. Right? There's no cheat code, there's no back door or loop or whatever it is. It's grind, consistency, work. Um, so I'm always open to helping them and guiding them and then advising them. I just came back from Denver, Colorado, because one of the people that the chef that is part of my community,
Mm-hmm.
they told me that they were about to open a food truck and everything. They asked me for guidance to teach them certain to kind of help them with their menus, with all that stuff. And I felt that in my heart that it was necessary that I went to Denver,
Mm-hmm.
during the first week that they opened, so I can help her be able to do, because it's so different when you're teaching over the phone or on a Zoom or whatever
Mm-hmm.
than being in person.
Right.
So
Right.
I was able to be there in person, put my hand in the mud, like they say, and teach her and show her so she can understand why she should do it this way,
Right.
right? And the first day, I just paid attention to what she was doing and how she was operating. And
Mm-hmm.
as she was going along, I would give her advices and stuff
Okay.
like that. And then the second day, I told her, okay, now we're gonna do it my way so you can see and understand why, right? So
Nice.
she was able to get that experience and that knowledge, and she was very grateful about it. And I'm the type of person too. I don't do things to get recognition, right?
Mm-hmm.
My recognition is that paycheck. That's it.
Boom.
I don't do things for recognition or to get glory or whatever. I do everything I do genuinely out of love, out of care, right? I want to see my people win. I want to see my community thrive. I want to see my culture celebrated. So whenever I do something, it's because if you look good, we all look good
There you go.
as a community, right? I don't want them to claim that, oh, another Haitian chef. No, I want them to be like, oh, he's a Haitian chef,
Right.
right? That's what I
Right.
want people to lead with now. So
It's so
whenever I
much
can
more
help
important.
out, yeah, whenever I can help out as much as I can, if I'm available, whatever, I'll do it, because not only that you help somebody, but you create bonds also. You create opportunities. While I
Mm-hmm.
was there, so funny that we got to sit down with this brewery who want us to do a pop-up dinner there,
Wow.
right? So it's gonna be the first ever full Haitian dinner in Denver, Colorado,
Can you imagine? And
in
that's
the whole
the thing.
state, in the whole state at all,
In the
right?
whole state.
In the whole
And
state.
see, this is why, and you touched on two things, which I want to get back on. The first thing, you said something really important. You felt it in your heart that you had to go out of your way to serve. And in that opportunity, out of, just opening up and laying it all, like, I'm sure you didn't ask for any, like you said, no recognition. You don't have to basically, like, you don't owe me anything, is what you said. Like, basically,
Yeah,
you
I
were
mean,
there
basically, didn't
to.
get paid for it. I covered my own travel expenses on my
Mhm,
own,
mhm.
right? Because I believed in what she wanted to do, and also I wanted to also to visit the area,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because I do these retreats, so I wanted to see the area to see if it would be appropriate for the type of retreat that I want to do
Makes
and stuff
sense.
like that. And also, I had in the back of my head too that maybe we can do something over there, but I didn't have an idea
Mm-hmm.
what it was gonna look like.
So might as
Right?
well. Might as
Might
well.
as well.
And the importance to that, one of even more important thing, because we're always trying to help people grow. And we've talked about the grind, and you touched on the will to learn. You have to be open to learn. And what happens, as you said, I'm going to come in, I'm going to watch her process. And then on day 2, we're going to start. Okay, I see how you do it. Just let's take a step back. Let me bring you my perspective, and you take what you want. You didn't impose it on her, but here's why I believe, with my experience and my 17 years in the business, how I believe that you can get to the next level. And so many times, and I'm sure you've seen this, whether through chefs and for anybody here trying to elevate towards their own thing, put whatever you want into the bucket. If you're not willing to deconstruct your own process and realize that maybe in some places you might be falling short, you might be, like you said, leaving money on the table. And if you're not willing to listen to Alain coach you, or if you're not willing to actually learn from other podcasters or learn from other writers, you're cutting yourself short. And I'm sure you've met people like that who refuse to learn.
Of course, you're doing yourself a disservice. Total disservice, man. Like I've met a lot of different people, and not just chefs, anybody that asks for advice. Like I feel that certain people ask for advice just to say that they did, but not to really take it into consideration and take it in. It's like how much work can I do to help save somebody that doesn't want to save themselves?
Mm-hmm.
So I will put in the work. I will help you. I will guide you. But then if the will is not there, the work is not there, and everything that I'm teaching you, you're doing the total opposite. At one point, I have to call it quits.
Why?
Yeah, because you're dragging me down with you. Right, and I don't want that. I don't want to get dragged down. I don't want to surround myself with negativity. It's always about positivity, always about thinking forward. Yes, we have issues. Yes, we fall down, but always think about the better outcome. Right? Always see that. You know what? That was not a failure. That was a lesson.
Mm-hmm. And so many times, what happens is we carry that quote unquote, just like you, I refuse to use negative words, but sometimes they exist for a reason. We constantly carrying these setbacks. We carry these failures. We carry these disappointments with us. And for some reason, we translate them as, oh, okay, this is my reality. When I'm sure you've had terrible events. You had everything planned because I know you. It's like, you have the entire list, you got the booking, you have the place, and for some reason, something goes wrong. Like the oven craps out, the power's not on, or somebody tripped over the whole
buffet line just drops on the floor.
Boom.
These happen. Yes.
These things happen. And you still overcome. And you still have to bring the overcoming mindset to that. So coach us, Alain, in those moments where we think that, excuse the language, everything goes to shit, but we still have to overcome. We still have to step above that negativity. How do we weather the storm?
My man, that one thing I said is proper preparation prevents poor performance.
Nice.
The 5 P's, right? That doesn't mean that nothing is bad that can happen. Something's bad will happen. So I go in everything that I do, every event, every catering, with the mindset that pray for the worst, pray for the best, but prepare for the worst.
Okay.
Right? So my plan A has a backup plan all the way to Z, just in case. Certain times we carry extra equipment, just in case. We might not end up using it. We might end up having to use it, but we have it available because you never know. They're not, even if it was human, they would have errors. Machines, equipment can fail, and temperature, altitude, all these things can affect them, right? So, for example, we were doing something in Toronto, and we were outside using a deep fryer, and because the temperature dropped so low that the pipes were frozen, the fire was not strong enough to keep the oil hot.
Wow.
So thank God we had a tabletop fryer that was inside that we were still be able to use, right? So that's to give you an example. We sometimes I carry extra plates. You never know, something's gonna happen. Plates can crack, and then you don't have enough plates because you were trying to cut it short.
You never know,
right? So, and also the biggest thing I always do is whenever I do, it depends on the type of event. If it's a wedding, I have to be at the site at least 3 hours before.
You have to be there. You have access to the site.
Access to the site 3 hours before the let's say, for example, for a wedding, 3 hours before the ceremony even starts. Not the reception, but the ceremony itself.
Okay.
right? I get there, we set up, we get ourselves situated. Oh, we forgot something. Oh, we're missing this. Oh, we need to fix that. We have ample of time to do what we have to do.
Okay.
Right?
And
I can operate under pressure. I can operate when it's time, when it's rushing time, but I prefer operating in a state of mind where I'm at peace and I know that all my steps, everything that I've written down, right?
mhm.
Because every event, sometimes I can't even sleep at night because I'm replaying the whole steps, all process in my head while I'm sleeping. That way,
Wow.
when I wake up the next day, I'm conditioned. I know I have to do this, that after. So I condition myself like a robot.
And people think that when we talk about visualization, we talk about writing down like to the detail so you can
Yes.
actually trigger your brain into putting yourself there. We used to do this when we were kids, whether we saw
Yes.
ourselves at G.I. Joe or Batman or Superman. It's the exact same thing. Like tomorrow, I'm going to be launching this event. I'm going to be there. We're going to get there. We're going to do this. Like you said, things can go wrong, like so bad. When I got
Yes.
married, it rained. It rained. You don't plan for that, but hey, you know what? You adjust. So
Yes.
I'm just feeding off what you're giving me, and that comes from experience because
Yes.
this has happened to you before. It sucked the first time, but you learn. You
You
could have
learn.
decided, you
Yes.
know what? I'm not. This is my last event. Calling it quits. I'm done. You know what? This
Yeah.
is too much stress. You know what? It's not worth my time. But you know what? You learn from this. And some people, and I'm just gonna call it out. Some people choke. Some people choke.
Yeah.
Some people say they want to do
Definitely.
this and they choke and they're like, "Darling, it's too much for me." And sometimes you have to, like you said, you can either encourage them because they have to know, again, this is part of your journey. You
It's a
have to go
process.
through it. Or if you decide you want to quit, okay, fine, because you're only going to kill yourself in the process. Because that's
Exactly.
why people get depressed as well, right?
Yeah, yeah, of course. And one thing I always encourage people who are trying to get into the business is just because your friends and your family are telling you that, oh, you can cook nice, you should start doing catering, doesn't mean that you need to start a catering business, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because catering business is much more than food, the cooking the food. Cooking the food is the easy part. It's the simplest part ever. It's the whole process around it. Like, okay, you're cooking the food. Are you properly cooling the things off? Are you properly warming them up? Are you transporting them right? Are you storing them right? Do you have your whole orchestra in place? So whenever it's time for you to perform, so you can perform right.
Mm-hmm.
So I always tell people the best way for you to start, go work part time with another caterer to learn from them
How it's done.
how it's done and the steps. It's it's okay for you to burn a pan of chicken with a caterer that can afford it versus with you who just started.
Nice. See, say it again. See, there you go.
See, so because the caterer can afford it, you burn that. Okay, throw it away. Let's do another one because they have the overhead. They have the backups for it. You just started and you started to burn in pans of food. At the end of the day, once you're done with that event, you might have to dig out of your own pockets
Mm-hmm.
to pay to buy stuff instead of using the money that you got paid to do the event.
Right. Right. See, and you know what? This speaks of the resilience that we were
Yes.
talking about in the beginning. And you know what? I don't want to jump over this, Anna. I think, especially looking at you and your body of work, and I truly mean this, not just from Instagram, not just from all the positive messages that I see, on WhatsApp, but I really want to say this. Like, we we as Haitians, you have championed our culture, not just through
Thank
food,
you.
but through your character, how you've promoted us, whether through the States, whether through food festivals in Haiti, whether on YouTube, whether all the way to Africa. I see you, brother. I see you. And you know what? You've never shied away, because sometimes it's so easy to be like, the diaspora and say, okay, you're just a chef and you just happen to be a Caribbean chef, but you carry the flag
Yeah.
openly, truly, on your heart, on your head. You brought it all the way up to the Food Network. You're bringing it up. And you know what? we thank you for it, because
Thank you.
it is time for our generation. I don't want to sound political, but I've made this a little bit more open on this show to actually, just like you, in our own individual ways, to try to show a different face of what we are capable of, whether myself through broadcasting or you through cooking, and so many of us in our own generation, to try to actually push a bigger message. And I need to tell you that I believe that what you're doing needs to be, has resonated, not just through me, but it's just very important. Like you said, not just another Haitian chef. You have elevated a standard of excellence and quality through your work that I know that future generations of chefs are going to look at and say like, oh, okay, so that's how it's done. All right.
Yes.
Oh,
okay.
So that's how it can be done. That's what's possible.
That's the goal. That's how it should be done. Yeah.
That's how it should be done.
Exactly.
And is that something you did consciously, or is it something that, you felt along the way, what, I need to carry this with me? I'm just asking.
So I'll say this. In the very beginning of my career, I wanted to shy away from being known as the Haitian chef because I didn't want the libellé, right? The label of Haitian chef. So then people would only think that I can only do Haitian cuisine, right? But as I growing into the career, I realized that it was a responsibility for me to be known as the Haitian chef, right? But the Haitian chef that can cook everything. Yes. He's a chef, but he's also Haitian, and his specialty is Caribbean Haitian cuisine, but he also can cook everything.
Everybody has a niche. Everybody has a specialty.
Everybody has a niche. Exactly. So, yes, I did it consciously because I wanted to make sure that I tap into my culture, into my heritage, into what I know, right? The flavors that I'm very familiar with. Also because I wanted to make sure, like you said, to carry the mantle, the flag of the country, to show another image, right? I know that we always complaining about our leaders, about the misrepresentations and everything. So I was like, you know what? Shut up and put up, right? So it was time for me to shut up and just do what I have to do, right? Let my work speak for itself. Do everything that I need to do to bring a better light to the culture, to the food. And just,
I can't remember. I don't know how. I think it was in 2015 when you actually went on Cutthroat Kitchen, and just the simple fact, I remember it, man, when it was all over Facebook and all over Twitter and everything. Like everybody, like, oh man, Alain's on Food Network, and nobody cares how it ended, but it was just the fact that wow, one of us, is representing us for like. Yeah, we have our musicians. Yeah, we have our artists, but we have an international platform where one of us is promoting our culinary expertise. And like, see, I'm giddy because I still remember watching it. I'm like, wow, Alain is holding it down, come what may. But it like Les Brown said, it's possible.
It is.
I don't care how whether you win, whether you lose, whether you got the record or whatsoever, but it just shows you it's possible, right? And that, I'm sorry to cut you off. It was just like, me, I'm just sincere. I'm very sincere. It's not something that should be laughed at because you know what? Too often is it so easy, like you said, to discount us to just a very, very narrow identity when we are so much more. And I believe that right now, more than ever, our generation has the opportunity to actually connect, like you said, collaborate and actually promote a different image of us.
Definitely. Definitely, man. Yeah. We do have the opportunity, and I said that this is our year. This is our year to showcase what we are about, to promote our culture, to show that we have more to offer. All right. And you're looking at countries like Mexico, some other countries around the world, that their food is recognized as global cuisine. Why can't we be in that?
Why can't we do that?
In that same language, right? One good thing is UNESCO made our soup joumou become a patrimoine mondial. So that's a good victory for us, right?
Really?
There. Yeah.
Whoa.
UNESCO it was submitted at UNESCO, and UNESCO decided to include the soup joumou as a patrimoine mondial
Wow.
because it has that big significance in the in our independence. And we
Wow.
are the first Black republic, and we played a role in inspiring so many others. And since Sujumu represents our independence, so UNESCO declared Sujumu Patrimoine Mondial.
Wow. See, again, shout out, shout out, shout out. Again, this is like, again, this is, if we can break barriers through food, again, that's what I tell you.
Of
Food,
course.
music is the universal language of culture.
Language, yes,
Is the
yes,
universal language. Music and food.
yes.
Universal language. Wherever you go, I can't say hello. I might basically just murder your language, but you can
Bruh,
actually understand a
you
very
just do like
welcoming meal.
this.
You know how
You
to
just do
welcome a
like
meal.
this, and they understand you. That's
And
it.
we can't skip over this one because, again, I'm burying the lead. No, I'm just teasing. But people know why we're here. Okay. You teased it long enough, and I wasn't even surprised, but for me, when I heard the news of your collaboration on Discovery, I'm like, this guy's unstoppable. Like, he just, what can you not do? Like, really? And for people who don't know, Alain just recently announced his collaboration on Luda Can't Cook, Discovery Plus channel, where
Yes,
basically a very well-known Chris Bridges, you might know him as Ludacris, is basically going around
correct.
and learning from various chefs and learning various cuisine. And it just so happens that to learn about Haitian cuisine, that Alain, was tapped, Chef Lemaire, was tapped to actually coach Ludacris, of all people, on Haitian cuisine. So
Yes,
again, just asking the basic barefoot question: how the hell did that happen?
my
How was
man.
it? How is he? How do you feel? Are you starstruck? Like, I saw the selfies, but really, first of
Okay,
all, congratulations.
thank you.
But how the hell did
So,
that happen?
how did that happen, man? I got a DM on my Instagram, and the person said that I am a recruiter
Mm-hmm.
for a casting company, and we're looking for Haitian chefs for a show.
That's it.
And I'm like, yo, this sounds fishy, man. Like,
On
but
Instagram.
something told me to reply back.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what worse can happen?
Yeah.
So reply back, we spoke. Next thing you know, we started exchanging emails.
Mm-hmm.
But in the emails, for example, like my email is alain@chefremain.com.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's a chefremain.com at the end of my email, there must be a chefremain.com website.
There you go.
So I always make sure that I put in that handle
Mm-hmm.
to see what it is about.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh shit, this is real. Right? And I'm
This is
like,
legit.
this is legit. And I'm like, I get another email and they tell me what the project is about. And I'm like, oh shit. I saw something about the first episode they did.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh my God, this is real. So conversation. And I'm telling you that they interviewed tons of Haitian chefs, right?
People you know?
And some people that I know, some people that I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
right? So they interviewed a bunch of people. And I did, quite honestly, probably over 20 Zoom calls, phone calls,
Wow.
tons of emails because they were trying to get everything done in a short period of time,
Okay.
right? And so I'm getting all these calls and stuff, and then I get this email. And so first of all, I get a phone call
Mm-hmm.
from the guy that had spoke to me initially.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, hey, so, we spoke before, just that. Listen, we sent you an email. Disregard that email. We're going to send you a new one.
Okay.
I'm like, okay.
Are you feeling
And
the
then
pressure at this point, or are you just going along and
at this point, we've already spoke about the steps, everything that we're going to try to do,
Mm-hmm.
etc. And then when I opened the second email, it says that they've decided to go with me as the lead chef for that episode.
Whoa. So now you're not just featuring somewhere, like, no.
Not a guest, not just appearing. They said
You're
you
the
will
guy.
be Ludacris Master Chef.
Wow.
So the whole concept of the show is, like you saw in the articles, is that I teach him about the fundamentals of Haitian cuisine,
Mm-hmm.
but also there are other Haitian chefs on the show too.
Mm-hmm.
But I take him. I'm like the master that takes him to somebody that specializes in something. Take
Right.
him to
Okay.
somebody that specializes in something else, and then at the end we incorporate all the things that he learned,
Poisson Gotzel, griot.
etc. Right?
Like, no. Okay.
So that's the whole concept about the show. Like somebody that's guiding him, teaching him, like handing him off, and then taking him back to make sure that he learned the lessons and understands everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's all about how we cook, why we cook the way we cook, the culture, the history, and all that stuff.
Wow.
Because culture, history, and food are all intertwined,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you can't talk about food without talking about culture or history.
Mm-hmm.
Because to understand the food, you need to understand and know the history,
Right.
right? So when throughout the whole process, I'm in my head, I'm like, yo, this can be real, this can be real. Even when they finally set up the dates, and like I'll tell you this, the initial dates that they had set up, I was not available for that day.
Wow.
Right? I was
What do
supposed
you
to
do?
fly to Jersey to go prep for a dinner that we were gonna do.
Mm-hmm.
And they told me the dates. I'm like, shit, is there a way that we can back up at least one day? Like, I'm supposed to be in Jersey 2 days before,
Mm-hmm.
but if I can get at least one day before, that'd be okay. And that also was a testament to how bad they wanted me to be the person, because they told me that they wanted to go with me because the way I spoke, the way I expressed myself,
Mm-hmm.
the knowledge that I was exerting, like it really connected with the network, and that they wanted me.
Greatness shines through. That's it.
So they wanted me so bad to be the one leading the episode and guide him, that they were willing to push back. Well, I say push up the
Mhm.
filming.
Can you imagine? Like the
They
entire
switched-
production
They
of
switched
the
the whole
entire
production
Discovery Media.
because of me.
Wow.
Yeah, man. And until we got to the set, man, I still couldn't believe I was there.
Is this really happening? Is this really
This
happening?
is really happening. And then when I saw him, I swear, bro, I got starstruck, man.
That's Luda. Yo, that's Luda.
I was like, yo. So I had to keep my composure, right?
Of course, you got to be a
I had to
professional.
keep my composure. And I was like, yo, this is Luda, but you can't act crazy. You can't act like you're a groupie. You gotta maintain your composure, bro. Act like you've been there, you've done that. But super cool, super down to earth type of guy. He has no complex, he's not
No arrogance.
he's not pretentious, no arrogance, nothing, man. Like, yo, he's just like a regular dude, just who enjoys life, who enjoys everything that he's doing, man. We had candid conversations. We spoke on and off the cameras. You know, he was asking questions, getting to know more about Haiti and everything. And I'm like, yo, bro, this is so cool. Like, look at me, you know, from Port-au-Prince, Haiti. Now I'm sitting next to Ludacris, right?
And
Like, I was just ready to just start rapping to his song and stuff and say, yo, sign me to the label or something.
you know,
But it was a surreal experience, man. I can tell you this. And what made it for me was the fact that the network wanted to make sure that they were accurate in everything.
you felt that.
Yes, they expressed that to me and they showed it also. They wanted to make sure that everything that we said, everything that was spoken about or presented was as authentic as possible. Right.
Shows a
And
level of
when I was
respect.
doing some off, like they call them OTFs, like it's like off the screen type of conversations, they were like, okay, this is in the line of what we want you to talk about more, because we mentioned them in the show. But you don't have to say them exactly like this. Say them however you feel that is more genuine.
Mhm.
So they gave me kind of creativity control to be myself, to express
be
myself.
yourself.
It wasn't like us. it wasn't like strictly scripted, and it was more things that were aligned with what was discussed during the show.
And did you feel that that Luda came, as you said, willing to learn?
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, he was willing to learn. Of course, he's a very funny guy. He always like to joke around. So it was a fun atmosphere, but also he wanted to learn, and he was learning. Like he fell in love with Haitian cuisine, definitely.
Wow. And for all of us listening and thinking that, you know what, they're in their little corner, whatever it is, whether it's writing, singing, painting, cooking, and thinking that, you know what, what's the point? Like, it's in them, but they're afraid, as you said, even as accomplished as you are, you still, even on the day of filming, you're still in that moment of disbelief. Like, is this really happening? Yeah. And for those of us in that fear of, embracing our own greatness and leaning into that thing that keeps us up at night, how can we tell them, like, you know what, take the leap, try it out? How can we help them?
Embrace the fear. Fear is necessary. It tells you that you're still alive. It tells you that you're still human, right? Without fear, we do reckless stuff. Fear keeps you in check. It keeps you on your toes because you don't want to mess up, but you don't want to also be too relaxed. That to the point where you start messing up eventually, because you mess up both ways. Like either you're messing up while you're performing, or you slack and you start messing up and not being as productive as you are. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to fall, but it's not okay to just stay down, right? Don't let the fear control you. Don't let the fear keep you down, but use that fear as your source, as your fire to push forward, right? I love it. I swear, I love I love having the anxiety. I love having the fear. I've done over 100 weddings, if not more.
Wow.
Every single weddings that we do, I'm always nervous because people get married once, most people. And it's not like their birthday. You mess up their birthday, next year you can do it over. Then most people get married only one time. So that's that one time that you have to make sure that they have a perfect wedding. So I take everything that I do that way, make sure that whatever you're doing, you put your best foot forward every single time, no matter what the pay is. And if the pay is not as good as the previous one, that's on you because you accepted it. And I always say, if you accept something, give it your all. Even if you know that it could have been a better payout or a better outcome or whatever it is, but give them that same performance you would give somebody that was paying high price.
Every customer is valued.
Exactly. And then in the kitchen, we always say that make sure that your last plate is as good as your first plate.
Right.
So the same detail the same attention you pay to and the first plate, even if you are on your 1,000th plate, make sure that 1,000th plate gets the same love and attention, because that person who's receiving it, it's not their fault that they receive it at last.
Wow. You are all about striving for excellence. You are all about always pushing harder. And every time I talk to you, the same conversation I also have with Richel Lecoin. You guys, like, on a creative level and on an elevated mindset level, you guys are always, always, always pushing better. And you guys inspire me. And just asking you, for those of us always like falling into, but I also believe that comparison is the thief of joy, as it's often said. For people who are not on your level, you might be at level 23. And for the person who's at level 2 and say, like, but I'm not Chef Lemaire, but I'm not Ali. I don't have like 162 episodes in. I haven't written three books. I'm not Les Brown. How do we, forgive ourselves? And again, accept the fact that, we are on our own journey. I am not meant to be Chef Lemaire, but people are always falling into the trap of like
Yes.
of comparison versus inspiration. See what I'm saying?
Yes. Yes.
And I
Facts.
think that people who listening to us need to know the difference.
Yes. So this is how I see it, man. You can always use somebody. There's always gonna be somebody that's gonna inspire you, somebody that you're gonna end up looking to, right?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody that is doing something that, oh man, I should try this myself, right? But don't fall into the trap that you have to be that person. I always said that I want to be Chef Alain. I don't want to be Bobby Flay. I don't want to be Gordon Ramsay. I don't want to be no other chef. I see what they're doing, and whichever one aligns with me, I can use it to better me, but not to become them.
Okay.
Because they are in their own lane. I'm in my own lane. Everybody's on their own lane, right? We all in our own lane. We all have our own journey, our own calling. I always said that God did not put you on a Zoom meeting or a conference call when He was giving you your calling.
Mm-hmm.
You alone received that calling, so you alone should focus on that and execute it. Yes, we have tools around us, we have people around us to inspire us, to guide us, to counsel us. But at the end of the day, what's inside of you, what's deep inside of you, stick to it. Don't
Wow.
let, I call it, the background noise distract you,
Wow.
right? All of that, like, oh, I'm not Chef Lemaire. Oh, Chef Lemaire did it, Chef Lemaire that. Like, no, don't worry about me. Focus on you. Focus on what you're doing. And it's funny that something happened today, and I was talking to my tribe, and I was like, yo, look at what just happened. And I was telling them, everybody was like, yeah, man, don't pay attention, stuff like that. Don't worry about it. And I said, I really don't care what the noise is about, what's going on. But it's just to show you that people are out there that are looking at you and see you as a threat or see you as their competition or as you're in their way, whereas you're not even on their way because the pie is big enough for everybody to get their own slice.
Everybody.
Like, for example, the state of Florida alone is so huge that I can't cater the whole state by myself.
You're realistic about that, like it.
No matter how much I would love to, there's no way possible that I would be able to do it. I would eventually choke. I would pass out. I can't. And I always use that analogy. When you're trying to eat a big ass wedding cake by yourself, you either gonna choke in it or you're gonna have stomach issues and you might even die because your stomach might explode.
Mm-hmm.
So the cake is available for everybody to take their own slice. Everybody has their own slice. Everybody has their own flavor. You go to the grocery stores, there are thousands of brands of bread.
Just bread. Can you imagine?
Just bread. So you choose which one is best for you, for your budget, for your liking. Right? So everybody has their own lane. Somebody might choose me because they like the way I do my food. Somebody might choose somebody else because they can afford them better.
Mm-hmm.
But should I be mad that that person had that catering gig and I didn't get it?
Mm-hmm.
No. That was not my clientele. That was not my type of bread. And I have to live with knowing to accept that. And the minute you accept that, you can't please everybody. You can't be everywhere at the same time. You can't take on everything, or you can't keep looking at what others are doing and then lose focus on yourself. Because once you start looking at others, you lose focus on yourself and you're spending more time worrying about what that person is doing versus what you could have done.
Yes.
The time that you take in to tweet or to post about or to talk smack about somebody else on social media, you could have created that time to reach out to somebody that can help grow your business, right?
Collaborate. Don't hate. Collaborate.
So and so is posting about Chef Lemaire. So you have no idea what relationship I have with them, or if I did hire them or not.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of focusing on what is being posted about me or what I am posting, why don't you reach out also and do the same thing? And most
There
of
you
the
go.
time people do that because they don't have the knowledge or the resource. They don't have the, I don't even want to say the resources. They don't have the knowledge. They don't seek counseling, right? So there's a certain point you have to be in your career that you need to surround yourself with people who can help you elevate, not people who are gonna cheer you on when you say some dumb stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You don't
Mm-hmm.
want no yes man or yes woman.
Mm-mm.
You want people that can call you out on your bullshit and be like, hey, nah, that was foul. Or people gonna be like, nah, man, don't post that. That's not right. It's gonna tarnish your reputation.
Mm-hmm.
So you need these people that can keep you grounded. Every time you want to say something bad or you want to react because you're angry, because you're envious, and you feel that you're not getting the same opportunities and stuff like that because you're so focused and comparing yourself to that other person,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't know their history, their background, or where they came from, what they did, how long they've been in business, you lose the track. And then the more time you're spending on spewing negativity and all that stuff, that person is still going up.
They're still
And then
living their truth.
people looking at you be like, well, you messy. I can't deal with you. Right? So ain't nobody want to
Energy is
assign
energy.
energy is energy. Nobody want to assign themselves or um be Jesus, what's the word again? Associated with somebody
Mm-hmm.
that's negative or
Yeah.
that's doing bad stuff.
Yeah.
Nobody wants that.
I
So
don't care how well you cook. Energy is energy. Like, if I
energy,
have a feeling
energy.
that you're more trouble than you're worth, I don't care how much you're. Even the price could be good, the food could be good, but you know what? If I'm hearing that, even in a murmur that, yeah, there's like a lot of infighting. You see what he tweeted and everything. This is the age
Yeah.
that we live in. You have to pay attention to that. You can't be emotional about
Yeah.
stuff.
No, like we're in an age where people have Twitter fingers. Everything can spread real quick. Like it takes forever for positivity to be spread,
Mm-hmm.
whereas negativity will spread like wildfire.
2 seconds. 2 seconds.
And that's it. Career's done.
You are a very busy guy. I don't want to keep you too long. I had one last question though, because I always like to talk about your different ongoings. Like we connect,
Okay.
but for the people like again who don't follow you for some reason, I don't get it. But okay, you definitely should. But I realize that right now you are building a huge media machine around you, man. Like the YouTubes and the tutorials and the ongoings and the lives and how to cook a 12-pound salmon. I see you, brother. I see you. But I also realize that you're also bringing up the Où manger déjà movement around you. Like you're traveling with a bunch of chefs, and I was just wondering, with everything that's happening around you. But you talked about the retreat, but I was just wondering for people who are curious, what's that about, and where are we going with this?
Okay, so the retreat came about. Me and a couple of my friends, we were just talking, and we are like, man, we've been always working and grinding, and we never have that time to ourselves, right? The time between us so we can chill and enjoy. So we came up with the great idea of doing a retreat. And whereas chefs, cooks, amateurs, anybody that loves food all the way, not even somebody that knows how to cook whatever, you love food, whatever, that we can get under the same roof or the same resort or whatever. And we use that time to decompress, recharge, and also educate each other. And what I love to do was that each person that's in it, at least there's somebody that's proficient in something related to food or the food business itself. And that person would lead a session where everybody would get the knowledge from them.
Wow.
So last year we did it in South Carolina. And this year I had the opportunity to do it in Costa Rica. So we're going to Costa Rica in the June. It's a good group of us. So we're gonna just relax, have fun, decompress, and also recharge and reconnect and learn. Right. So that's what the retreat is all about. And the Où manger déjà is it's the love language, universal love language in the Haitian culture, man. Whenever you pull up to an old person's house or to a gamoon, they like, Où manger déjà? Like, did you eat already? And you can't say yes or that you don't want to eat because it's disrespectful, right? It's similar in a lot of different cultures.
True that.
It's similar in a lot of different cultures when they invite you to eat at their table. It's a sign of respect and affection.
Grab a plate.
Right?
Sit down.
Grab a plate. Sit down. Manger petit. Like yeah. So
reminds me so well when I came to Montreal. I stayed with my aunt for the first few years, and she's like big mama of the neighborhood. Like, she was like, there was her in her building, there was her place and an Italian lady, and they were constantly like old school Haitian mama and a old school Italian mama. So imagine there was constantly food, and it was never like, oh yeah, tonight we're eating. No, just whoever walked through the door, grab a plate, pon plat, pon plat, pon plat, pon plat. That's it. That's how we are, man. That's how we are.
That's it. Yeah. So that's the brand, and that's what I wanted to resonate, as in the love language, the community feel and stuff like that. And we started doing some pop-up dinners also under the same label. So we did Jersey last year was the first one. I'm doing one in Denver in May. We're planning to do one in Boston in July. We're gonna probably do another one in Jersey or New York toward the end of the summer again. So we're just trying to stretch out to different markets and stuff like that. We do cooking classes too under the same label. So there's Chef Lemaire, there's Sensory Delights, but also there's Homage et Déjà, and I want Homage et Déjà to be
its
the
own
main
thing.
focus of my right. It's like Homage et Déjà operated by Chef Lemaire type of thing, right? So,
Man. Mogul stuff, mogul shit.
Yeah, we're working at that.
Proud of you,
And
man. Proud
by
of you.
the way, Chef Lemaire and Homage et Déjà are already the application's already in the office for the USPTO. So just putting it out there. Sensory Delights Catering is already a trademark company.
It's already trademarked.
So just putting it out there.
Wow. See,
There's no
limit to vision. There's no limit to vision.
Yeah, so we're grinding. We're grinding, my man.
Proud of you, man. Proud of you.
Thank
you. Man. So many gems. So many gems. We're coming up on top of the hour. I don't want to keep you, but I want to say again, thank you for your generous time. Like I said, I know you're a busy guy, but every time we launch up, these conversations, these connections, I always, first of all, filled with so much great energy that you put out into the world. But to know, just to share this time with you, reconnect with a brother and a friend. It means a lot to me because I know we only have one life, and just to share this time with you, for me, it's time well spent. I want to celebrate you for all the great work that you're doing, not just for the culture, but just as an individual, for just living your truth. It's all about what we try to promote on the show and letting people know that the best version of your life is always on the receiving end of your choice, and you choose every day to show us what excellence looks like, or even striving for it. So I want to really, really congratulate you for this, brother.
Thank you. I appreciate you, man. Seriously. And for those who are watching, the show airs on February 15th.
Yes.
Discovery Plus.
Nice.
Download Discovery Plus and stream it because I want more people to stream it, and also to show the networks that the Haitians love to support each other. We will. So we can get more shows on TV.
We'll definitely do that. The message has passed, brother. We'll try to promote it as best we can, brother. Thank you. Are there any particular places that the viewers and listeners can connect with you if they need to follow up?
On any social media platform at Chef Lemaire. Once you put Chef Lemaire on Google or any social media platform, you will find me, the one and only. My website, cheflemaire.com.
Nice.
So everything is Chef Lemaire. Once you put it in, there's not going to be many that come up.
Pretty much. Yeah. I checked. You're the only the one that needs to be talked about anyway.
Thank you.
Man, we always have a running tradition on the podcast. You're the OG, this. I always like to leave, the last couple of minutes to what I call the next step. Just a recommendation, a quote, a mantra that you live by, an affirmation, or just a basic tip that anyone can wake up tomorrow and take that next step towards the next level. Anything we can leave the listeners with?
My biggest one is by any means necessary. Martin Luther from Malcolm X, right?
Okay.
And when I say that, I mean, not saying to go the illegal route, but by any means necessary, meaning that to fight for what you want, go after what you want by all means, right? Put in the work. If you have to lose sleep, because delayed pleasure is forever gratification, right?
Right.
So all those nights that you lost in the beginning, all the sacrifices that you made where you couldn't go out, enjoy, have fun, Take them now. Grab them. Do it, and then later on, you will reap the benefits of it.
Wow. Wow. Oh, that's one to take. That's really one to write down. Temporary discomfort for long-term enjoyment.
Yes.
Right. Right. Chef, I can't thank you again for this time, for this wisdom. Always a pleasure connecting with you, brother. Guys, my friend, my brother, the illustrious and ever so talented Chef Alain Lemaire. Find him on all the socials. I will definitely link up all the connections on the blog post once it goes live. Guys, go show Alain some consideration, some love, and immediate support. You heard it. Please do watch out for the postings when the show airs. Luda Can't Cook, featuring Chef Lemaire. We will definitely show him as much support as we can. But guys, as always, thank you for supporting the journey. Stay blessed, stay safe wherever your journey takes you. And as always do, stay awesome. This has been another episode of the Awaken the Awesome podcast. We always love to get your feedback, so please do drop us a line via Instagram, Facebook, or email. Our email address, awakentheawesome@gmail.com. Do visit our official website at awakentheawesome.ca, where you can find our entire back catalog of episodes and incredible guests. Also, if you haven't already, please hop on over to Apple Podcasts and subscribe, give us a rating, and leave us a review, as this helps us tremendously in growing this podcast and spreading the word to more awesome listeners like you. We always appreciate your support, and thank you for listening. Stay awesome.